Hi there, welcome back to Learn to Code C++ edition. Whenever we left off, I just finished going over some base variable types and how to print out to the screen. I'm going to introduce you to one more variable type that'll make our life a lot more easier, which is the string. String is a data type that expands on the char star that we saw here. Char star character array. Char star is a very C standard. Now, granted, whenever you're doing a little bit more advanced programming, there are going to be things you have to do that need the raw data of a character string of data, which is sequential. However, a string is different. It encapsulates what a char star is, and it gives you more flexibility. It gives you helper functions to determine what size it is, manipulating it, cutting it in half, casting it all to uppercase. String will make it so much easier for you to work with, and I'm going to be using strings a lot, and if I ever need to use a character array, I'll announce it and we'll go from there. But they're both initialized the same way. This would be ABC, and the string would be Anthony. So they're both initialized the same way. You can work with it like this. Oh, welcome back, by the way. Sorry. Put that at the top of the program. Cout string inline. Printing out Anthony. Well, Ant Honey. I'm a programmer, not an English major. Alright. Strings are also, they have a lot of overloaded operators. You have access to being able to do, let's say, string2 is equal to Hernandez. And I can do string name equals string plus string2. And then I want to print out my name. So Anthony Hernandez, no space. I didn't include a space in here. If I wanted to include a space, I'd just put it right there, or right there. You have any choice. So the key word that I just mentioned was operators, and operators are basically going to be linking different variables together inside of statements. This statement is adding string plus string2, plus being the operator. In C++, you have access to a handful of operators. You have minus, plus, the times, divide, and modulus. Modulus is percent. Modulus is a little bit different. In programming, it's very useful. In the real world, it's not that useful. Modulus basically returns the remainder of a division that you did. So if I were to do int result is equal to 5 mod 2. Now 2 evenly divides into 5 2 times, 4, but it doesn't divide into it equally a third time, so you'd have a remainder of 1. So if I were to print out result 1. Now what do you think would happen if I modded 5 with 6, a number that's larger than it? You'd think there'd be 6, but in this case, modulus will always return the number itself, 5. If you're trying to mod a larger number than the original number, then it's going to give you an error. Or not an error, sorry, someone just Skyped me and it's throwing me off. So if you mod something with a larger number, it'll just give you the original number. Some compound statements is times equal. You can do a lot of things with this. Almost every operator can do that. Plus equal, divide equal, and here's an example. I'd say int result is equal to 5 plus 5. I come down here and I say result equals result plus 2. Now, whenever I was first learning the program, this made a lot of sense, but a little fancy trick that you can pick up here is result plus equals 2. that does its same exact thing as the top line. It's just making it a little bit shorter. That's considered a good practice. It isn't too far-fetched to see that in a program. Let me clear some space here. Alright, so I'm going to briefly go over input, since input is going to be the second half of console programming. So I'm going to say cout, and then the program is going to ask a question, what is your name? And then the function for getting input is cin, just like cout, except it's input, and you're flipping the operator, the streaming operator, to the other direction. And then we need a variable, so we'll say name, and up here I'll do string, name. So this is basically saying, what is your name? We type in our name, puts it in the name. Simple enough. What is your name? Anthony Hernandez. Oops, I forgot the pronoun. Nice to meet you. And then I'll also do a inline above the statement to try and help format it. So play it, Anthony Hernandez. Okay. So you saw that? I hit enter and I had that information in there. cin is a little bit weird. Well, working the console's a little bit weird no matter how you go about it. What happened is I input the string Anthony Hernandez return character, and for whatever reason it read in up until here and it kept that return statement into the buffer, so whenever it went to see and ignore, it hit that return statement and went to return 0 anyway. So you think this is going to be a big issue, but there's a quick fix to this. You can do cin.sync. This basically clears that buffer. It says, I don't care what's inside that buffer, but we need to sync it to what it should be, which is empty, since we just hit enter. So we're going to do that. Anthony Hernandez. Nice to meet you, Anthony. There's another gotcha. It only got Anthony. It read up until the space, and then it stopped. That's partially why the ignore was hit, because that information was still in the buffer. cin is going to read up until a space, and we want to read in a entire string of information, spaces, whatever. So I'm going to introduce you to another tool for getting input that's called getline. Getline is a function, and we'll go over functions later, but all you need to know is that inside the parentheses of a function, it takes the input stream, which is going to be our cin, and then it needs a destination for it's going to store this stuff. So we're going to say, name. And I'm going to comment out cin, and commenting is just / or / turns it green, will not compile with the program. So load the debugger. Anthony Hernandez. Nice to meet you, Anthony Hernandez. Grab that entire line, put it into the name string, print it out to the screen. So going with, well, not going with, but trying to think of something else I need to put in here. Let's go over if statement real quickly. If statement is a logical check. It's going to say, if this statement is true, do this, else do something else. So this is what it looks like. If condition do this, else do this. Now condition isn't defined, so it's going to give us an error, so I'll just say true. So if true, true is true. So whenever we get down to here, it'll do whatever's inside these brackets. If it were false, it will go down and do this information. Now in C++, what is considered false is 0, null information. Anything that is not 0 is always going to be evaluated to true. So I'm going to show you how mod is used, how I use mod a lot. We're going to do name dot. Dot is accessing additional tools with name, and since name is a string variable, remember all those helper functions I told you about? We're going to do size. Now size is going to return the size of that string, and I don't know how many characters my name takes up, but we're going to do if name size mod 2. So let's think about what this is doing here. If name size mod 2, if that number mod 2 is 0, that means 2 equally divided into it, and 2 is an even number. So if this ever equivalated to 0, that means that my name is an even number of characters. So that means it would go down and do this, because remember, 0 is false. So I could say cout, it is very nice to see you. However, if it is anything else, which would be 1 in this case, it would be true. So it would do this. And I'll do it is not so very nice to see you. It's a mean program, probably a little bit prejudiced against odd letters. Alright, so we'll go ahead and, for formatting purposes, a couple of inlines in here to move it down. What is your name? Anthony Hernandez. Nice to meet you, Anthony Hernandez. It is not so very nice to meet you. So I guess this string had an odd number of characters. Now let's go ahead and redo this. Instead of putting a space, I'll just do Anthony Hernandez. Nice to meet you, Anthony Hernandez. It is very nice to see you. Now just to kind of give you a little bit of insight into that variable, I'll do cout and then name.size. Copy and paste that down here. Anthony Hernandez. 17. So there's 17 characters in that, odd number. So that's the beginning of having control structures in our program. The next episode, I'll go over some more control structures and start getting into looping, so we can actually have an interaction between a program that isn't just straight through and then you're done. So thanks for sticking around. I'll see you in my next video.